Welcome to this predicted paper from On Maths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our On Maths site. On Maths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! Okay, so we're going to start by writing this out a little bit bigger, give us a bit more space. So it's minus 6x is less than 60. And we're going to do our tram lines down. And we're going to start by dividing both sides by minus 6. Because that's what this is doing, it's timesing the x by minus 6. So I'm going to divide both sides by minus 6. So that gets rid of the minus 6 on the left hand side. And it's going to be 60 divided by minus 6, which will be minus 10. Now we've got to be really careful here, because whenever you times or divide both sides by a negative, you must switch the inequality. So instead of pointing to the left, it's now going to point to the right. So our answer is x is greater than minus 10. So the first piece of information I'm going to focus on is the fact Denver gets 8/19. Denver gets 8/19, that means that Engel and Fido together must get 11/19 because they have to add up to 1. So we're only looking at 11/19. I'm going to focus on the ratio next of Engel to Fido. So it's 9/5. And let's have a look and see, well, first of all, how many parts there are all together. So 9 plus 5, which is 14 parts. So there are 14 parts in total, and the share that they get is 11/19. So what I'm going to do is to find out what fraction one of those parts is worth by dividing 11/19 by 14. So each part is worth, and I'm just going to keep this into my calculator, 0.041 blah blah blah. And we're asked to find Fido's share. Well, Fido has 5 parts. So Fido has 5 parts, each of them worth 0.041 blah blah blah. I've kept it in my calculator to keep the accuracy. And when I do that, I get 0.206 blah blah blah. Now we're asked to work it out as a percent. So I'm just going to times that by 100. So we have 20.676 blah 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 percent, and it wants it rounded to nearest percent, so that would be 20%. Or actually it would be 21%, because this would round it up, so 21%. There's a lot going on with this question, so I'm going to start off just having a look at the total amount of money. So I'm going to do this in pence, so 2,115 pence. And if each merit point is worth 3 pence, then we can work out the amount of merit points by doing 2,115 divided by 3. So that gives us 705. So there's 705 merit points. Next, have a look at the question here, this part here, where it says James has X merit points. Sarah has 4 times as many points as James, so she's going to have 4x. Robert has 69 fewer merit points than James, so he's going to have x minus 69. And we know that that equals 705 because we've just worked that out. And this feels like a solving coming on. So we've got x plus 4x plus x, which is 6x. Minus 69 equals 705. And we're going to add 69 to both sides. So we've got 6x equals 774. Then we're going to divide 6 both sides. And so we've got x equals 129. So x equals 129. That means James has 129. Sarah has 4 times more, so she will have 516. And Robert has 69 fewer, so we're going to take 69 away from that, and that will equal 60. To find the exterior angle of any polygon, we do 360 divided by the amount of sides. These are decagons, which means they have 10 sides. So the exterior angles will be 36 degrees. And the exterior angle is just an angle that kind of continues on. You just continue on from the side. So this one here is the exterior angle of the left-hand decagon, and this one here is the exterior angle on the right-hand decagon. So altogether, the angle A will be 36 plus 36, which will be 72. So our answer will be 72 degrees. So the symbol here basically means and the way I remember it is if you draw that symbol and just put a line through it, you can make the word and. So we're looking at the probability of getting something that is in A and C. So the only ones that are in A and C are this 8 and this 9 here. So we're going to just add the 8 and the 9 together, which give us 17. Now we need to then work out how many numbers there are in total, so that's all of them. So 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 11 plus 6. So we need the total, which is 54. And then we get the 17, and we put that over the amount in total, so over 54. We know that when you multiply powers with the same base, and here we've got all these as base v, you add the powers. So we're actually looking at what do we add to 11, which is this one here, to get to the 15. 11 plus 4 is 15, so w therefore equals 4. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor, and you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h, and a and b are the parallel sides, so these ones are the parallel sides, and the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula, so it'd be half a plus b h, so half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack, so we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, the next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need? So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. To find the mean, we need to work out the sum of the numbers, basically what they add up to. And what we then do is divide that by the amount of numbers. Now, what this table is telling us is there are 14 students who got a time between 0 and 4 seconds. Now, it's absolutely impossible to work out what time those students got with the information in this table. So what we need to do is we need to assume they all got, say, 0 seconds or all got 4 seconds. And the fairest value to say that they all got is what we call the midpoint. And to find the midpoint, what you do is you add up the lower bound and the upper bound, so the highest value and the lowest value, add them together and divide by 2. So 0 plus 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. And that gives us a halfway number, which is fair to everyone. So the students roughly probably got 1s, 2s and 3s, and maybe a few 4s maybe. And the average of that is going to be 2, so that's fair for everyone. Same with the 4 and the 8. Halfway between 4 and 8 is 6, and you can add them together, 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Go down finding the midpoints, and we're just going to assume the students all scored the same amount, all got the same time. Then we're going to do our FS column, okay? And so we're assuming that 14 students got a time of 2 seconds, so when you times those together, you get 28. And we're just going to times all of these together. Okay, next we're going to work out the sum of the FS. And to work that out, we just add all of these up together. So we're going to do 28 plus 36 plus 30 plus 126 plus 36. And when you add them all up, you get 256. Now, that will give us the sum of numbers, so we're going to put that into our working out now. And we need to find out how many numbers there are. Well, the frequency column will tell us how many numbers there are, so we're just going to add all of those up together. So we're going to find the sum of the frequency, which is 14 plus 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 2, which is 34. And when we do 256 divided by 34, we get 7.529 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so we're going to round it to 7.53. So we're given 21 to 4 is the ratio. We're just going to have our lines in, because what we need to do is make the left hand side be 1. And to do that, for 21, I need to divide it by itself, divide it by 21. And we're going to do the same to the right hand side. So 21 divided by 21 is 1. Perfect, that's what we wanted. 4 divided by 21 is 0.190 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 1 to 0.19. So if we imagine we've got the 25 meter pipe here, and we've got the 35 meter pipe here. The question's basically asking us, what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length, that will fit with the 25 meter and the 35 meter. And essentially what this question's asking is, what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35? So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5-meter pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5-meter long, and there's no wastage. And that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 meters. So factorise means to put it into a bracket, and it looks like it's a quadratic here, but it's actually just a linear factorising, because we don't have a number term. So we're going to just use one bracket for this. And looking at these terms, I'm going to focus first on the numbers. So 20 and 30, I can divide both of those by 10, and that will leave 2 and 3. So that's the numbers done. Next, I'm looking at the t terms. So we've got t squared there and a t there. So we can divide out a t, but that will leave a t on the first term. And finally, I'm going to look at the u, and there's just a u on both of them. I can factorise out, and actually that just leaves nothing on the inside of the bracket. Now, always when you do this, expand the bracket to check if you've made any mistakes. So I'm going to do smiles and rainbows. There's loads of different methods. So 10 times 2 is 20, t times t is t squared, and then the u, plus 10 times 3 is 30, times t times u. So we know we've got the right answer. So our answer is 10tu brackets 2t plus 3. So in this question we are told that the centre of enlargement is at 6, 4. So let's just put across there. And what I'm going to do is just draw ray lines from the centre of enlargement, and we're just going to go through each of the corners of our shape A. And we're going to just check whether it goes through the corner of shape B, which it does on this one. Let's just keep going. Yeah, it does on this one. But it does not on this one. So it says find the coordinate of the vertex of shape B that is not correct. So the coordinate is this one here. And so that would be -4, 1. So for this question, what we need to do is factorise 4t plus 6. Now factorise means put it into brackets. So if I try, what I can do is I can actually put a 1 on the outside here. So 1 times 4t plus 6 is 4t plus 6, but the question clearly states that it is higher than 1. So we need to find another number that's higher than 1 to factorise this with. So if we look at 4t and 6, well, they're both in the 2 times table. So I can put a 2 on the outside here. 2 times 2t is 4t, and 2 times 3 is 6. So what we can do is we can just check that out with smiles and rainbows. Put all my times down there to remind me to times it. So 2 times 2t is 4t, 2 times 3 is 6. So that works because that is the same as this in the question. So we know that 2 times 2t plus 3 works. In fact, it's the only one that works with it being an integer. So we therefore know that the known side, because it says it's a known number, is 2. And the other side will be 2t plus 3. And then when you multiply them together, you get the area of 4t plus 6. So our answer, because it says the length is the known number, so that's the length, then we're finding the width, which is this one here. So it's 2t plus 3. So I'm going to start off just with a quick sketch, and we know that the bearing of B from A is 85 degrees. So we're going to have A here and B here. And let's just draw a line between them, and let's do both our north lines. And so we know that this angle here is 85 because it's the angle on the bearing of B from A, so it's 85 degrees. So now it says work out the bearing of A from B. So the first thing we can do is actually just draw a line going down here, and we know that this angle here will also be 85 degrees because of alternate angles. It's always best to write that down somewhere, so we can just put in brackets here alternate angles, and we know that this angle here is going to be 180 degrees because it's a straight line. And I'm not a fan of doing the reasons on the diagram, so maybe perhaps I should have labelled this an x and this a y and written x equals 85 and y equals 180 somewhere else. And so to work out what the bearing is, I just need to do 180 plus 85. So 180 plus 85 is going to be 265 degrees. To find the smallest possible width, I'm just going to do a quick number line, and all I'm going to do is put 12.2 on our number line and figure out what the next number down will be. Well, if it's the nearest tenth, the next number down would be 12.1. That's the next number down it could have rounded to. And I'm just going to cut this number line in half and find out where our halfway point is. Well, the halfway point would be 12.15, and that's actually the minimum it could have been before it would have rounded to 12.1. The most important first thing that we do is whenever you square something, you times it by itself. So we're going to rewrite this as x minus 15 times x minus 15. And then the way we approach this is exactly the same as we've done with the other ones. We're going to do a multiplication grid, and we're going to do x minus 15 at the top, x minus 15 at the bottom, then we're going to do x times x, which is x squared, x times minus 15, which is minus 15x, same again here, and then we've got a minus times a minus, which is a positive 225. Put all the terms together. Now you can see here that we've got the x terms here that will add together. So that would become minus 30x plus 225, and that's actually our answer. So it's x squared minus 30x plus 225. So I'm going to write this question out a bit bigger, just so we've got a bit more room. And we're asked to solve. So what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to start by putting our solving lines in, and we're going to try and figure out what we do to get x on its own. So we're going to start by subtracting 9 to both sides, and so that will leave us with the 10x squared on the left hand side and then 250 on the right. Then we're going to divide by 10 both sides, so we've got x squared equals 25, and then we're going to square root both sides. Now, this does give us 5, but it also gives us negative 5, because minus 5 times minus 5 is also 25. So our two solutions are 5 and minus 5. So we're looking for angle DEC, which is this one here, but we can't go directly there. We've got to kind of work our way towards it. And the first thing I'm going to look at is these set of parallel lines here. And we've got a line going through these parallel lines, which is this line. If I try and do it without removing it, this line here. And so therefore this angle here and this angle are going to be corresponding. So this is going to be 69 degrees. So I need to write that down properly. So angle CDE equals 69 degrees because of corresponding angles. Okay. So if I know that the CDE is 69, I also will know that this angle here is 69, because they're the bottom two angles in a triangle. Now, when I say that, I mean when an isosceles triangle is the right way up, the bottom two angles are equal. So they're the bottom two angles in an isosceles, although the isosceles is on its side here. And we need to write that down, so it would be angle DCE equals 69 degrees. And this time it's because it's an isosceles triangle. And finally, we can work out what CED is by taking those away from 180. So angle CED, or actually I should keep it as it says in the question, DEC, is equal to 180, take away the 69 plus 69. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. And when you do that, you get the answer of 42 degrees. So the answer is 42 degrees. So the first thing we're going to do is work out the area of the trapezium. And the formula for that is half brackets a plus b times h. Now a and b have to be the parallel sides. So here we've got the two parallel sides here, which just pick a different colour, here and here. So that is a and b. And then the h is the perpendicular distance between them. So perpendicular means it hits it at right angles, so that's what we've got here. So the area would be half times a, which is 28, plus b, which is 14, times the height, which is 14. And so that would be 294. Next we'll do the circle. Now it doesn't look like we've got anything for the circle, but actually the height here is actually the height of the circle as well. So the height of the circle is the same as the diameter. So the diameter of the circle is 14. Therefore the radius would be half of that, which is 7. And the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So it would be pi times 7 squared, which will be 153.938 blah blah blah. Now keep that in my calculator, because next thing we'll do is the shaded area part, and it says we want to work out the area of the shaded region. So the area will be the total area, which will be the trapezium, take away the area that we don't want, which is this bit here, which will be the circle. So the trapezium's 294, the circle's 153.93 blah blah blah, and when you do that you get 140.061 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it would be 140.06. With this question you've just got to know what the different functions look like. So with C and D, we've got quadratic functions. One's a positive quadratic, which is a U shape. One's a negative quadratic, which is a kind of upside down U shape or an N shape. And here we don't have that, so we can get rid of those in our thoughts straight away. A is a positive cubic, which goes up, then down, then up again. And B is a negative cubic, which goes down, up, and then down again. So this one here goes up, down, up again. That's going to be a positive cubic. So our answer is A. So the way this formula works is we have M, which is the final amount. The 2000 here is our initial amount. The decimal in here is our multiplier, and the power here is the amount of years. So the way multipliers work is they are the percentage divided by 100. So if we go the other way and times it by 100 to make it back into a percentage, it will be 102.9%. Now it says what is the interest rate of the bank? Well, the interest rate is always going to be 100%. Well, this 102.9% is 100% plus the interest rate, which will equal the 102.9%. So the interest rate is going to be the 2.9%. You always start off with 100%. So if I put £5 into my bank, I've got 100% of that £5, and then the interest rate is on top of that 100%. So our answer here will be 2.9%. With these questions, it's normally easier to view these as two separate triangles. So we've got a small triangle here with 19 and 47. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this out. And we've got a bigger triangle here. And we've got, we've got a bit of, we don't really know what any of the sides are just yet, but we can work them out. Okay, now we know that both of these triangles are similar, and the reason is they share an angle and the lengths at the bottom are parallel, so they will be similar, which means one's an enlargement of the other. And we are given some information in the question that the ratio of BC to DE is 1 to 6. So BC is this length here, and DE is this length here. So we're actually given the scale factor because we know that 1 times 6 is 6. So we know the scale factor is 6, and it's asking us to find length AD. And so the corresponding length to AD, which is this one here. So all we need to do is get that 47, times it by the scale factor, so times it by 6 to get to our value. So it's 282. So this question will probably need a Venn diagram just to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram. You don't need to. If you can work out how to do this question without, you can do. But I think this is a really tricky question to do without a Venn diagram. So it says that they picked two activities. It was either painting, which I'll put as a P, and sport, which I'll put as an S. So let's start filling in the information it gives us. So 11 picked painting and sport. So that will go in the middle, because that is painting and sport, and 11 didn't pick painting or sport, so they can sit on the outside. Now here's the problem. It says twice as many people picked sport than painting as one of their activities. So it's saying that the total number in, and let's just show it, the total number in the sport circle is twice as big as the total number in the painting circle. Now, what we can do is we can say, okay, so if the painting we label as X, then the sport will be 2X. But if you look, we've already got a number already in the sport, that 11 there. So in algebra, this will be 2X, take away the 11 that we already know about. And the painting is the same. We know the whole thing is X. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take away the bit we know there, which is the 11, and it will be X minus 11. Now we know that there are 66 students in total. So what we can do now is add up all of the parts of the Venn diagram and get it equal to 66. So X minus 11 plus 11 plus 2X minus 11 plus 11, and all of that will equal 66. This is going to be some solving, so we're just going to put our lines in. Now here we've got X plus 2X, which is 3X. And if I put my tool right, there we are. And we've got minus 11 plus 11, minus 11 plus 11. Well, those just cancel out. So we're left with just the 3X equals, and then 66. We're going to divide that 3 both sides. So we've got X equals 22. So if we go back to our Venn diagram now, we can fill in the blanks. So instead of x minus 11 there, we've got 22 take away 11, which is just 11. Instead of 2x minus 11 there, we've got 22 times 2, which is 44, take away 11, which will be 33. So it says, find the amount that picked sport and not painting, which is this 33 here. So we're asked to find the bearing of Freetown from Gamley. So that is this angle here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find this angle, and this will obviously be 90 degrees because the hiker walked west, and it's against the west line and the north line, so it's definitely 90 degrees. So we can work out what the bearing is if we know that angle inside the triangle. So we're going to start by labelling the sides. Well, we've got 90 degrees here, we've got hypotenuse here, we've got the adjacent here next to the angle, and we've got the opposite, which is across from the marked angle. Here we're not using the hypotenuse, so we can cross that out. And we can do our SOHCAHTOA. And the only one that doesn't have the hypotenuse is TOA. And so we're doing tan x equals the opposite, which is 49 over 98. Get our lines in. And we're going to do the inverse tan to both sides. So we get x equals, and we do inverse tan, which is 26.565, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we know that the whole of the way around up until this point is 270 because we've got this 90 degree left. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to work out the bearing. So bearing, we're just going to do 270 take away the 26.565 blah blah blah, and that gives us 243.434 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to the nearest whole number, so that's going to be 243. The surface area of a sphere is found with the formula 4 pi r squared, with r being the radius of the sphere. So we're going to do 4 times pi times the 20, and that gives us 5026.548 blah blah blah. And when we round that to 2 decimal places, we get 5026.55 centimeters squared. This question is the same as questions you get where you've got y equals 8x squared, and you've asked to find what y is when x equals 3. The questions are exactly the same, but instead of y we write f of x, and this is saying that the function is 8x squared, and we want to feed in the 3 into the function. So it's going to be 8 times 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9, and 8 times 9 is 72, so the answer would be 72. So to draw a box plot, we need 5 points. We need the lowest point, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and highest point. Now we already have the lowest and highest points, so we can put those onto our box plot now. So the lowest point is at 0 and the highest point is at 30, as we can see on the cumulative frequency graph. So we need to now find out where the median is. Now the graph goes up to 20, the actual line goes up to 20, so the median we're going to find at 10. We're just going to draw a line across and down, and that looks like it is 17. So our median will be at 17. So we're just going to draw a line at 17. Get it just perfect, there we are. Okay, next thing, we're going to look for the lower quartile. So if the median we drew a line across at 10, the lower quartile would do it at 5, which will be here. So that's at 12. So we're just going to draw a line up from 12. Fill in this box, and we can actually fill it in with the lowest point. And lastly, we need our upper quartile. And we do that by adding the 5 and the 10 together to make 15. So we're going to draw a line across from 15 and down, and that's 23. So line up from 23. Try and get this as nicely as I can. I need to move that line a little bit. Oops. There we go. And let's fill in the last bit, join it up with the highest point. And there's our box plot. We're going to first of all multiply the coefficient of the x squared, which is 6, with the number on its own at the end, which is -5, and that will give us -30. And the special thing about this number is we're looking for two numbers that times together to make that number, and we're looking for two numbers that add together to make the coefficient of the x, which would be 13. Now, to make a product that's negative, we know that they're going to have to be different signs. So one will be positive, the other will be negative. And we can do this in our head, or we can write out the factors. So I can just quickly write out the factors of -30. So it would be -1 and 30, -2 and 15, -3 and 10, -5 and 6. And then the same thing, just the other way around. So 1 and -30, 2 and -15, 3 and -10, and 5 and -6. And we're looking for the pair of numbers that add together to make 13. So just looking down the list, this one here will make 13, won't it? Because -2 plus 15, or 15 take away 2, is 13. So the two numbers we're looking for are +15 and -2. I'm going to rewrite the question now, but instead of the +13x, we're going to split it up into the +15 and -2, or the other way around. So we could do 6x squared -2x +15x -5. And a little tip, if you've got a positive and a negative number, let's just tidy that up a bit, always put the negative number first. Okay, so always, if you've got a choice, put the negative number first and then the positive number. It just makes the maths a bit easier. We're going to look at the first two terms and the second two terms separately. We're going to factorise them linearly, which means just put them into a bracket. And we'll only look at the purple box. So here we've got 6x squared minus 2x. So that's obviously going to be 2x on the outside. And that's going to be 3x minus, and here it's actually just going to be -1, isn't it? Okay. And for the next one, we're going to have, was it 5? And that would be 3x, and again, -1. Okay, these two brackets, it's not a coincidence they're the same. They have to be the same, and we just write them once. They are one of our brackets. If they're not the same, it means you've made a mistake somewhere. And we get the 2x and the +5 together. So 2x plus 5, we put them together. So in total, we have the first bracket, which is 2x plus 5, and the second bracket, which is 3x minus 1. And actually, the brackets can be either way around. The first thing to notice is we actually have two radii here. So we've got this radius here and this radius here. And all radii are always equal in length. So we have an isosceles triangle here. So this angle here is going to be 19x as well. And we've got to write that down. So we're going to say angle OBA is equal to 19x. And the reason is it's an isosceles triangle. Okay, so we know these two are equal. Well, we also can work out x because, as I said before, we have a triangle here. And all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we've got 7x plus 19x plus 19x equals 180 degrees. And this is angles in a triangle. Try and draw a better triangle, equal 180 degrees. Try and write out these reasons in full. Okay, so that's going to be, was it 45x equals 180. And let's get our solving lines in. And we're just going to divide both sides by 45. Okay, so we've got x equals 180 divided by 45, which is 4. Now, we're looking for this angle here. That's angle ABC. Now, there's a few different ways we could do this. We could work out what this angle is, because it's a big triangle, etc., etc. Or we can use the fact that we've got a tangent touching a radius. So we know that this, let's just pick a different colour, this angle here is 90 degrees. So we can write that down. So angle OBC equals 90 degrees, because it's the angle between a tangent and a radius. Again, make sure you write all the reasons in full. And so therefore, angle ABC, which is what we're asked for, it's just 90 take away the 19x. Well, we know that 19x is 19 times 4, because we know that x is 4. And so that would be 76, so in total it would be 14 degrees. So angle ABC is 14 degrees. We're going to write this out again just to give us a bit more space. So we've got S equals 4 minus 13t over t minus 5. I'm going to get our lines in. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get rid of this fraction. Always get rid of any fractions. I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides by t minus 5. So we're going to end up with s brackets t minus 5 equals 4 minus 13t. I'm going to break open those brackets just by multiplying them out. So it's st minus 5s equals 4 minus 13t. And the objective here is to get all the t's on the same side. So I'm going to add the 5s and I'm going to add the 13t. So add 5s and then add 13t. And so effectively we're just moving this on the other side and this on the other side. So we're left with st plus 13t equals 4 plus 5s. Now when we've got the t's on the same side, we can factorise out the t's. So t bracket s plus 13 equals 4 plus 5s. And then we can get rid of this by dividing both sides by s plus 13. And so we're left with t equals 4 plus 5s over s plus 13. So our answer is 4 plus 5s, all of that over s plus 13. And it can be either way around, so I could have 5s plus 4 over 13 plus s, or anything like that. So we're going to start by labelling the sides here. So we've got capital A up here, little a down here. It doesn't matter which one you label. Capital B here, little b here, and capital C here, little c here. So you notice the C's aren't really involved at all, but we've got the two A's, we've got the capital A and the lowercase a, and we've got the capital B and the lowercase b as part of the question. And so when you've got a pair or two pairs of angle and sides, you are going to be using the sine rule. And so the sine rule says that sine capital A over lowercase a is equal to sine capital B over lowercase b. Now you might be wondering why I've put sine A and sine B at the top, when sometimes this is written as the lowercase a and lowercase b at the top. Well, if we're looking for the angle, which we are here, we're looking for capital A, you put the angles at the top. If you're looking for the length, you put the lengths at the top. Okay, so we're going to fill this in. So sine, we're just going to leave that as sine A, so it's just, or sine x actually, shouldn't it be? Sine x over, and then lowercase a is 6, equals sine B, the angle is 35, over lowercase b, which is 7. Okay, we're going to work out what the right hand side is. So that's going to be 0.081 blah blah blah. And then we're going to be solving this. And the first thing we're going to do is times by 6 both sides. So we get sine x is equal to 0.491, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to inverse sine both sides. And so we have x equals 29.448, blah, blah, blah. And our answer wants to be rounded to 2 decimal places. So we're going to put our answer as 29.45 degrees. Okay, so we're asked to find length AB, which is this length here. But I'm going to start just by renaming these letters. And I'm going to put this as a capital C, and this as a capital A and a lowercase a over here. And the reason it being is that we're going to use this formula, which is area equals half AB sine C. And you can see that the angle C is a C in this formula, and so I've just changed it to a C here. And so we're looking for little a. We're not interested in little c or big B or big A. We're focused on, and we've got a little b here, we're focused on little b, little a, and big C. The area is given to us in the question is 21.6. And we're looking for A, but B is 5 and C is 68. And so all we need to do here is rearrange all of this. And we're going to start just by working out what half times 5 times sine 68 is. And that's going to be 2.317 blah blah blah. That's times A. And then we're going to do a bit of solving, because if we divide both sides by that 2.317 blah blah blah, that'll give us what A is. So when we do that, we get 9.318 blah 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 equals A. So rounded to 2 decimal places, that's going to be 2.32. Iteration is a process to find a solution, and we're asked to find the solution for this correct to, or a solution for this correct to 2 decimal places. Now what we're going to do on a calculator is something a bit weird. We're going to literally just press the number 2, and then we're going to press equals. When you do that, it stores the 2 in the calculator's memory. The next thing we're going to do is type in 13, and as soon as you type in the 1, the 2 will disappear. So 13 minus square root of answer. And most calculators call it ANS, answer. On the Casio calculators, it's at the bottom right and then left 1. It's next to the equal sign. And then next time we press equals, what it will do is it will get this 2, it will feed it into this, and then it will work out what the next solution is. When you do that, you get a solution of 11.59 when rounded to the 2 decimal places. Press it again, you get 9.60, again rounded to 2 decimal places. Again, 9.90, 9.85. So it's getting closer to something now. 9.86 and then 9.86. So our solution, our answer, is going to be 9.86, because as soon as the number repeats, then you stop and you write down that answer. So simultaneous equations we normally solve by working downwards and doing the circles and using the normal method on them, which is solving simultaneous equations by elimination. Sometimes though, when we've got a linear and a quadratic, which we have here, it's not possible to do that method. So what we've got to do is substitute one equation into the other. Now here, it's actually been nice to us in this question because they're both equal to y. So I can replace that second y with the 2x plus 11. I can just put that into that equation there, which is what we're going to do. So we've got 2x plus 11 equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. And we're just going to get everything equal to 0 so that we can solve it as a quadratic. So I'm just going to start by subtracting 11 both sides. So we've got 2x equals x squared minus 5x. What's that going to be? That's going to be minus 7. And then take away the 2x both sides. So we're going to have 0 equals x squared minus 7x minus 7. Now, we know this is not going to factorise nicely because it asks it for 2 decimal places. It's on the calculator paper. Chances are it's going to be quadratic formula we'll need, which we do. So we've got a equal to the coefficient of the x squared, which is just 1. B equal to the coefficient of the x, which is just minus 7. And then c equal to the number unknown at the end, which is minus 7 also. So we write out the quadratic formula. So x equals minus b, and always put them into brackets, so minus 7 plus minus the square root of b squared, so in brackets minus 7 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 7. Oh, and all of that over 2a, so 2 times 1. And when you do that with a plus in that bit there on the calculator, we get the answer of 7.887 blah blah blah. When you do it with a minus, you get the answer of minus 0.887. And don't rewrite the whole formula when you change from plus to minus. Just use the calculator function to go back to this sign and just delete it and change it to a minus. But when we solve, we've got to find out the x and the y values. So we look at this first equation here, which says y equals 2x plus 11. It means to find out what y is, all we need to do is times it by 2 and then add 11. So I'm just going to do that with the first solution we have, so 7.887, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to times it by 2 on my calculator, and then plus 11. And that gives me the answer of 26.774, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm going to do that with the second solution we found, so minus 0.887, blah, blah, blah. Go times it by 2, then add 11, and that gives me 9.225, blah, blah, blah. So to 2 decimal places, our answers are going to be 7.89 and 26.77, or minus 0.89 and 7.23. So vectors are shown with how far right at the top and how far up at the bottom. So we've got minus 3 right, which is actually going to be 3 left, and minus 2 up, which is actually going to be 2 down. So to start this off, what we're going to do is just put a point anywhere on this grid, and we're going to go 3 right, so 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go 2 down, so 1, 2. Let's show that point there, and then all we need to do is join up these 2 points with a straight line, and we need a direction, so we actually started at the top right one and went to the bottom left one, so the direction is going to be this, and it says it's vector A, so we're just going to label it with an A. So to find the magnitude, we've got to first of all work out what's going on. So we know this is how far right, and actually this is going left because it's negative, and this is how far up we go. So we're going 3 left, and let's just show that on a quick sketch. So 3 left and 5 down. So 3 left and 5 down. And what the magnitude is basically the length of this line here, the purple line. And what you might notice is this makes a right angle triangle, and so to find the length of this line, which I can just call x, what we do is we do the a squared plus b squared, so we do 3 squared plus 5 squared. It's just simple Pythagoras. And so what we're going to do is just work out what 3 squared plus 5 squared is. So that's going to be 9 plus 25, which is 34. And then square root both sides. So we've got x is square root of 34, which is 5.830, blah, blah, blah. Now a different way we can say that, instead of x, what we can do is we can write that as the magnitude of A. That's just A with a line left and right of it. And the reason for that, the reason for the sign is that it is, it's a scalar, it's a magnitude. It doesn't have a direction, so it can be A in any direction. And so we're going to write down our answer, which is 5.83 to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to first of all just draw out the diagram a bit bigger, just so we've got a bit more space. And we're looking at going from B to M, and M is about here. Now the first thing to notice with M, I'm just going to quickly label the other parts on, is that the ratio of A to M is 1 and M to C is 4. So the ratio is 1 to 4 between the two. And what is really helpful sometimes is just to label in the kind of section. So if A to M is one section, we've got 4 of the sections from M to C. So just put little notches there to show the 4 sections. And we can see straight away that A to M is 1/5 of that distance. That's why it's a nice, easy way to show that A to M is 1/5 of that distance. Let's just put a nicer 5, there we go. And so we're looking at going from B to M, but we can't go directly from B to M. We've got to go from B to A to M, and that's going to be the direction of travel. Now, we don't know the name of the road between A and M. In fact, we don't know the name of the road between A and C. We've got to first of all work out what that's called. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from A to C by going down here and then up here. So we can find out A to C is going to be going backwards down A, then up B. Now A to M is going to be 1/5 of A to C. Now if A to C is minus A plus B, that means A to M is going to be minus 1/5 A plus 1/5 B. Now we're asked for the vector B to M, and we know that that's going to be B to A plus A to M. We know B to A because it's labelled, it's just A. And we know A to M because we've worked it out down here. And it should be minus, let's get rid of that, because we know it's going to be minus 1/5 A plus 1/5 B. And so A minus 1/5 A is going to be 4/5 A. And then we've got the 1/5 B. So it's going to be 4/5 A plus 1/5 B. So to find the shaded part of this diagram, we need to first of all work out the volume of the smaller cone, which is at the top, then work out the volume of the larger cone, which is the whole cone shown, and then take them away from each other. So the radius for the smaller cone is 4 and the height is 5. And the radius for the larger cone is 20, and the height is the 20 plus the 5, so it would be 25. So I'm just going to label them A and B. And so why don't we work out the volume for B first? And the formula for the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h, with h being the perpendicular height. So it's 1/3 times pi times 20 squared times 25, which is going to be 10,471.975, blah, blah, blah. We're going to work out the volume for A, and this time it will be 1/3 times pi times the radius now is 4, and the height is 5. So that will be 83.775, blah, blah, blah. So to work out the shaded bit, we're just going to do the volume for B, take away the volume for A. So it's going to be 10,471.975, take away 83.775. And all those I'm going to keep in the calculator to keep the accuracy. And that gives us 10,388.199, blah, blah, blah. And to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 10,388.20. So the first thing we need to realise is that we can create a right angle triangle from within this cone. So if I draw a line from the top going downwards, a line to the right and a line up, and we can label the sides. So we've got 30 here and we've got 10 at the bottom here, and we're looking for this angle here, which we're going to call y. And if I just highlight all of this and move it across, then we're obviously going to be using trigonometry to find out what y is. So first step with trigonometry is, well, find out where the right angle is, which is there. And the one opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, the one opposite the marked angle is the opposite, and the one between the right angle and the marked angle is the adjacent. In this question we're not using the hypotenuse because there's no letter or number next to it. And so I'm going to do my SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, and we're not using the H, so we'll cross out these two. We're using the TOA, and that stands for tan the angle, which in this case is y, equals the opposite, which is 10, over the adjacent, which is 30. And so tan, so we're going to inverse tan both sides, so we're going to have to solve this. So let's get my lines in, and we're going to inverse tan both sides. So that will just leave y on the left hand side, and then we need to find out what the inverse tan of a third is. And the inverse tan of a third is 18.434 blah blah blah. Now, what I did at the start was I moved the diagram away from the cone. Let's just move it back and we'll see the fact that y is exactly half of x, because we've done a line straight down the middle. So to find out what x is, all we need to do is double y. So x is going to be 2 times y, so that's going to be 2 times the 18.434 blah 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 blah, and so that is going to be 36.869, etc. And it says it wants it to correct 2 decimal places, so that's going to be 36.87 degrees. So we first of all need to work out the frequencies in each of the bars, and we know that the frequency density is proportional to the frequency over the class width. So we're just going to go through each of these bars and work out what the frequency is. So all we need to do is times the frequency density by the class width. So 4.8 times 10 is 48. The second one is 0.4 times 10, which would be 4. And then the last one will be 0.8 times 5, which will also be 4. Work out the total frequencies. So it would be 48 plus 4 plus 4, which will be 56. So 56 in total, lines in total, and they only want to see the largest 20%. So we're just going to work out 20% of 56, which we can do, we can just multiply it by 0.2, and that'll give us 11.2. Now you can't have 0.2 of a line, so we can just round that to 11. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our OnMaths site. OnMaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.